doesn't make any sense why this has not gotten a lot more coverage. This is a little peek into how corrupt just the pharmaceutical, just the approval process that the FDA goes through when it comes to these, big pharma drugs. So basically, there's this new drug for Alzheimer's that Biogen has just gotten approved through FDA regulators, even though apparently there was a lot of disagreement about this. The advisory committee, a lot of scientists, public advocates, health advocates, essentially said there is no clinical trial evidence or proof that this drug basically it works as intended. It essentially is a drug they've tried multiple times to push to the market, but they say, what's been from doctors, lots of doctors apparently inside this, the drug was approved in spite of the fact that one of its 2 large-scale clinical trials failed to show a benefit to patients. There have been people within the agency that have quit because of this, because basically based on their review and based on what they've looked at, there is just nothing that proves that this is a very effective drug. And this is a drug that Biogen wants to charge $56,000 for treatment. Even a lot of health insurers are reluctant to even pay for this drug unless it's under really limited circumstances. And Biogen even tried to submit a paper to JAMA, a top medical journal that analyzed the results of the clinical trials of its new Alzheimer's drug. However, Biogen later withdrew the paper because JAMA considered rejecting it unless edits were made, according to 2 sources familiar with the matter. The FDA's decision to approve has been mirrored in controversy. Experts say there simply isn't strong enough data to show the drug works, and appears medical journal reviewers also weren't sold on Biogen's interpretation of the data. And the unfortunate part is we have this jacked up system where basically, even though, there wasn't much rationale for approving the drug, they approved it anyways. To get something basically unapproven, disproven, apparently it's much harder than it should be, because Bowen is now selling the drug, which also carries risk of brain swelling and bleeding, and has up to 9 years to complete a post-approval trial confirming drug's effectiveness. Which is kind of crazy, right? Because, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, you can make billions of dollars. And let's be honest, they find out they're being under other investigation. Um, what are they gonna do if you're a drug company, like, and then you harm a lot of people in the process? We already know what probably is going to take place. It's common sense. They're going to keep raking up the price anyways, and essentially, whatever settlements that they pay out in the end are going to dwarf how much they made in profits. So the cost of harm will not exceed what you earn in profits. In 9 years to do that? I mean, for goodness sakes, the fact that there's no proven or no evidence that it is an effective drug, how it's still allowed to go into the market is completely jacked up. And Biogen is ticked off. They're on a campaign to market themselves as, oh no, this is good, this is a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding about how this drug works. So then they send out this person to write a letter. Biogen's head of research and development, Al Sandrock, published a letter that defended the drug's approval. Sandrock said it was common, appropriate, and beneficial for the FDA and drug companies to work together. That meant no. It should be an adversarial relationship. Stat in New York Times both reported Biogen and FDA officials met off the books to discuss the drug, possibly in violation of federal protocol, because that makes you feel way more comfortable that these people, regulators, meeting with the drug company they're supposed to regulate. Well, let me guess. You guys talking about career advancement, what you're going to do after the agency, go to a nice hotel. I mean, that possibly in violation of federal protocols. If there isn't a federal protocol already that is on the books, a statute that says that's a violation, then the corruption is baked into the actual system. So this is the type of stuff, and Biogen's a for-profit company. They're trying to make as much money as possible, give money to their shareholders and the executives, and hopefully, employees, right? So yeah, they're trying to rig the system as much as they can and play with the rules as much as they can to favor themselves. The bigger issue is the FDA. This is the troubling thing that happened throughout the whole vaccine conversation. You don't gain more credibility and authority in a situation, especially during a pandemic, and talk down to people about, why they should take the vaccine. If they don't, they basically you're just calling people a bunch of idiots and irresponsible. When this is the activity that you engage in, when your regulators are meeting with the industry who wants to make a ton of money, and then all of a sudden they get an approval for a drug that most of the scientific community, a good majority of it seems like, and stakeholders say it doesn't even work. There's no proof. And they're stating this affirmatively. So now you go out there and try to label yourself as an authority, a moral